Chicago, a bright morning, parents dropping off their kids, teachers waving hello, then everything shatters. Gunfire in broad daylight, a mother's life stolen. And behind it all, a tangled web of jealousy, restraining orders, and a mystery that flips every time you think you understand it. This is the heartbreaking, jaw-dropping case of Romeca Meek and the shocking whispers that her own baby's father may have orchestrated it all. Get ready, because the facts, the rumors, and the truth are about to collide. Let's rewind to the moment that turned an ordinary school drop-off into a national true crime mystery. It was just after 8 a.m. in Chicago's South Loop. Parents rushed through their daily school drop routine, coffee in hand, backpacks bouncing, the sound of car doors slamming echoing down the block. Among them was Romeca Meek, a young nursing student and devoted mother whose every day began and ended with her little boy. This morning should have been no different. But witnesses say that as Romeca returned to the curb after walking her son inside, the quiet hum of the neighborhood snapped. Across the street, Carlos Losue, her child's father, was waiting. And with him stood Kaya Holly Johnson, the other mother of Los's child, a woman whose name would soon dominate every headline. What started as an ordinary school morning suddenly turned electric. Voices rose, arguments flared. Neighbors who had been sipping coffee stopped in mid-sip, frozen, as the tension between Romeca and the couple erupted right there on the sidewalk. Some witnesses insist Los stepped in fast, grabbing Romeca in a headlock as tempers exploded. Others recall that Romeca approached first, her frustration boiling over from months of simmering conflict. Either way, the scene escalated in seconds. The once ordinary school drop-off became a public showdown, one that no one present would ever forget. And then, the unthinkable. According to several bystanders, Holly reached into her coat and pulled a gun. The crack of a single shot echoed off the brick walls of the school. Children and parents ducked behind cars as chaos ripped through the quiet Chicago morning. Romeca collapsed on the sidewalk as parents screamed, and teachers rushed to usher terrified students inside. Within moments, the bright, bustling school zone had become an active crime scene. Sirens wailing, neighbors in shock, and a young boy's life forever changed. But as police raced to the scene and medics tried to save Romeca's life, the confusion over what had just happened was only beginning. What appeared at first to be a simple act of violence would soon spiral into a tangled story of jealousy, restraining orders, and dueling narratives that turned this case upside down. In the frantic hours after the shooting, news alerts lit up phones across Chicago. Early reports painted a tragic but simple picture. Romeca was ambushed, attacked while doing nothing more than dropping off her son. Neighbors told reporters they saw Los holding Romeca in a headlock and Holly firing at close range. Social feeds exploded, hashtags calling for justice, live streams from the scene, parents terrified for their own children. But overnight, that certainty collapsed. By the next morning, major outlets had changed their story. Suddenly, Romeca wasn't the victim of an ambush, she was the alleged aggressor, a mother who doubled back to confront her ex's girlfriend and forced Holly to defend herself. The dramatic shift left the public spinning. People woke up to headlines that contradicted everything they'd heard just hours earlier. These whiplash updates didn't feel like normal reporting delays, they felt calculated, like someone was rewriting the narrative in real time. And with every fresh headline, one question grew louder. If this was truly self-defense, why were so many details already clashing? To make sense of the chaos, investigators and journalists dug into court records. What they found only deepened the puzzle. Months earlier, Romeca had filed a restraining order against Los, alleging a pattern of emotional and physical abuse. Friends say she finally broke free of a long, toxic relationship, building a new life focused on her son and nursing school. But in a twist few expected, Holly also held a protection order against Romeca, claiming that Romeca had threatened or harassed her. Two conflicting legal shields, each pointing the finger at the other, these documents should have clarified who needed protection. Instead, they raised a chilling possibility. Maybe everyone knew danger was coming, but no one could agree on who posed the threat. Neighbors began asking how two opposing restraining orders were even possible. Did the system miss a chance to separate these households sooner? Or was someone deliberately using the courts to build a cover story for what happened that morning? With legal records muddying the water, attention shifted to the next shocking development: the arrest that seemed to evaporate overnight. When news first broke, there was at least one comforting thought: the shooter had been caught. Police arrived quickly and took Holly into custody on the spot. For grieving neighbors and Romeca's devastated family, that arrest looked like the first step toward justice. But days later, reality flipped again. Without warning, Holly was released. No formal charges, no bail conditions, no electronic monitoring. It was as if the arrest had never happened. A viral video then surfaced of Holly calmly saying, "I'm licensed to carry," her voice almost casual. To many, it sounded like a practiced line, less a statement of fact than a ready-made legal defense. For Romeca's family, it was a gut punch. How could someone eyewitnesses accused of firing the gun simply walk free? What evidence had police seen, or ignored, that justified such a decision? With the arrest unraveling, the focus turned back to the people who were there that morning and the radically different stories they told. As the days passed, eyewitness accounts became a battleground. Some parents and neighbors stood firm, swearing they saw loss restraining Romeca as Holly fired. A few even claimed Holly hid the weapon in her car before police arrived. But another set of voices told the opposite story. They said Romeca returned after the drop-off, furious, and attacked Holly first. From their perspective, Holly only drew her weapon to protect herself. Clips from cell phones and doorbell cameras leaked online, but each angle seemed to tell a different story. Some showed a heated argument, others only the aftermath: sirens, confusion, screams. The result? Two competing realities, both amplified on social media and cable news. Truth and rumor blurred until no one could say for sure what had happened. Then investigators discovered a seemingly minor detail that made the whole case feel less like chaos and more like choreography. It started as a small footnote. Loss and Holly arrived in different vehicles. But to seasoned detectives and an increasingly suspicious public, it was anything but minor. If they'd left the same home to drop off the same child, why not ride together? Some suggested it was convenience, others weren't so sure. Two cars meant two stories, two timelines, and an easier way to stage a confrontation without appearing to plan it. Online forums lit up with speculation. Maybe Holly parked elsewhere to create the illusion of chance. Maybe Loss arrived separately to intercept Romeca or to hide communications. The idea that this could be premeditated, carefully arranged to look like a self-defense encounter, spread fast. What had seemed like random tragedy began to resemble a calculated plot. And while theories multiplied, the heartbreak behind them only grew sharper. Beneath the headlines and theories was a mother who loved her child fiercely. Friends described Romeca as vibrant and hopeful, finally free from years of emotional manipulation. She was in school to become a nurse and determined to give her son a better life. Hours before her death, she tucked a handwritten note into his lunchbox. "You can start off strong. Always remain yourself. I love you so much. Love, Mommy." That note went viral, a bittersweet testament to the kind of woman she was: nurturing, protective, forward-looking. But some saw deeper meaning in that simple message. Was it just daily encouragement, or did she sense danger approaching? Had she been worried enough to leave behind words of comfort for a son she feared she might not see again? Jealousy may also have played a role. Rumors swirled that Holly believed Loss was still emotionally tied to Romeca. Romeca's independence, beauty, and ability to move on may have been fuel for resentment. As grief turned to anger, those closest to Romeca refused to let her story fade into a tangle of rumors. In the days following the shooting, Chicagoans gathered at vigils and marches. Candles flickered in the cold night air as neighbors chanted for justice. An online petition gained thousands of signatures, calling not just for answers in Romeca's case, but for stronger protections against domestic violence. Advocates demanded better funding for shelters and emergency hotlines. Parents demanded tighter security at schools so no child would again witness such horror. City leaders faced mounting pressure to act. This wasn't only about one family's tragedy. It was about restoring trust in public safety, proving that a parent can drop off a child without fearing deadly violence. Yet, as the community's resolve hardened, official action seemed to stall, leaving room for even darker theories. With the investigation apparently frozen, the internet filled the vacuum. One theory gained traction. Loss orchestrated the entire event. The separate cars, the conflicting witness statements, even the quick release of Holly all looked, to some, like the marks of a carefully planned operation. Could he have manipulated the confrontation, ensuring Holly appeared to act in self-defense while he avoided direct blame? Supporters of this theory point to the restraining order history and his alleged controlling behavior. Others believe crucial digital evidence, texts, calls, surveillance footage, has yet to surface or has been hidden. Skeptics counter that the chaos was genuine and the tragedy unplanned. But as long as key questions remain unanswered, suspicion keeps growing. Which brings us to the final and most pressing point. What happens now? And how can viewers like you help push this case toward the truth? Was this really a spontaneous fight that spun out of control, or a carefully staged setup designed to look like self-defense? Why do eyewitness accounts, legal documents, and police decisions contradict one another so sharply? And if the case is officially closed, what critical evidence might still be buried? Romeca's family refuses to give up. Her young son, traumatized and quiet, lives each day with an empty seat at the table and questions no child should carry. And a city that once bustled with morning calm now remembers that ordinary days can hold extraordinary danger.